Commission. We have a quorum of commissioners present established. Ms. Nicole Tanner is missing, the county clerk, and Ms. Christy Hightower is absent as well. This meeting is open to the public, both in person and online. An opportunity to view and hear this meeting can be found on the foregoing Zoom link that we have published on our agenda. Public may make comments online up till 8 o'clock this morning, but by 8 o'clock this morning, according to Ms. Ficina, nobody had signed up. So that makes about, 50 in a row. We haven't had anybody. And so the first thing is open forum. Not seeing anybody in the room that's not a member or a employee of the commission. We're going to power through that. If somebody shows up, we get back to it. Ms. Hightower is not here, so I do not have the minutes from our secretary for the October 9th meeting. And that brings us to number 3, discussion and action on election administrator report. Give us an idea of what went down in the last election, a recap, if you would, please, sir.
So of course, we did a lot of that work trying to make sure everything went off without a hitch. I think we did solve a lot of those issues. Even just so with the color coordination of the paperwork actually being printed on the color that it was supposed to be on, according to the envelopes. I know a lot of the judges were very appreciative of that. And they did let us know that at the end of the night. Biggest issue going forward is getting our check-in system updated. That was really the only issue outside of some paperwork things that we ran into. We spoke with the the inspector about. It was just our check-in equipment. We had 2 of them go down late in the afternoon. That was really our biggest issue that I was aware of.
Okay.
Outside of some missing forms that again, we spoke with the other election inspector and he let us know that those were missing and we needed to get those out. So we got those out and we made note of that going forward because they needed to be included. Thus far, everything coming in on election night went fairly smoothly. We had poll watchers sitting in with us as well as new election judges that were very good with keeping up with what we're supposed to be doing and make sure they had everything at their disposal they needed to make sure that we were on par with what we're supposed to be doing. All of the reports were generated and given to them as far as zeros and concerns.
Anything we can change to make it work better next time?
More trainings is really it. It's just trying to get them in more personal time.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Christy Hightower was doing this. You don't happen to have the minutes from.
I do. I'm having Diane email them to the call right now. I have them for May 15th and this last year.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Aaron.
No, it's just gonna be training, drilling it into them, getting them more.
That's what see if you have that.
Paula has it.
Just getting them more aware of everything that's going on with the equipment and paperwork. Really, we didn't have too many issues, like I said, with this go around. A lot of them seemed pretty straightforward with what they were doing. With any other issues we had, I know we had what precinct 13, precinct 8, and was it 4 that we had connectivity at?
Yeah, I think so.
All of those worked fairly well. It was just making sure that they made connectivity. There was times during the day that the connectivity went down. It was just getting the judges to troubleshoot that and get them powered back up and going again. But that in itself was a good test run for us. If we do go ahead and get new equipment and try and make it to where we have all of the locations actually up and running with connectivity. That would go a long way for us to get our history back in that same night and actually be able to compare tabulation to check it. Outside of that, I can't think of too many issues that we did have. Like I said, the equipment failing in the late afternoon was the biggest issue we had throughout the day, outside of just phone calls looking for voters, making sure they were in the right locations. Same one we always go through every election.
Okay.
Of course, our turnout during early vote was a lot larger than we've anticipated. It was larger than even our turnout in 2020.
That's one thing that really kind of caught me by surprise, that early vote turnout. I'm glad we did what we did to allocate more resources. Was there any, we've discussed about 3 precincts or 4 precincts where we put additional resources. Was that enough, or do we need a plan for more?
I think it just depends on the scope and gravity of the elections, as far as how we're handling that.
I agree. The governor's election is not going to draw this.
The folks that we had at the locations, that was a good call. It definitely worked out to our advantage. Of course, we never know exactly how they're gonna turn out. On election day, they could have swamped us and overwhelmed us, but they didn't, fortunately. It was only another, what, 12% gain on election day, so. As a precaution, I don't think it was a bad idea to have them. I think it worked to our advantage. It's definitely something we just need to mind as far as, like I said, the gravity and severity of the elections that we're working. So we have another one that's highly contested like this going forward. We definitely allocate the workers to be out there and mitigate the issues that we could have.
I don't see it going back. I see it always being like
I,
kind of.
I tend to agree, but the other thing too is, our census count says we have 36,000 change right now. That's your current estimate. 2020, April 1st, we had 35,725. A month ago, we demoed a software that tracks these things. There's 44,630 of these at a minimum that spend 6 hours or more every night in Hill County. I tend to agree that I think that you're going to continue to see the voting population go up and up. So when we make decisions like the upcoming ones we have, talk about the voter election check-in software, we need to plan for more and not less. And I agree that if you have a gubernatorial election, it's going to be a lower turnout historically than we've seen. I still think we're going to need to prepare for larger numbers than we've seen in the past. That's my 10 cents.
Yeah, the new turnout's gonna be just the new normal for us in the gubernatorial, as opposed to a general when it, doubles, triples. So we're talking about having, because I'm definitely not opposed to having multiple check-ins at the locations going forward. So no, we were barreling with 50. Overall, we could redo the math and see how many we could actually have as far as actually deployed and then backup for the location.
Okay. Soft or hardware problems, not software problems, but hardware problems on that date. Where all did what presented hardware problems for us on election day? Not the early vote, but on election day.
On election day, it was just the check-ins as far as I was aware of, precinct 7 and precinct 3. Which previously historically for us, precinct 3 was one of our heavy hitters before we did the census and all of that. As of 2020, once that happened, they've been in steady decline, so it didn't really hurt us when they went down. Of course, they had the backup book and they just kept plugging along with that. So really the only thing that changes at that point is we have to manually enter those back from the book. But they processed flawlessly, both precincts did. Guys went out, changed out the check-ins, got those synced up with what was already checked in, so that nobody came back in and double voted. That was really the only issue we had with that. Actual voting equipment. The actual voting equipment, the only issue I believe we ran into was during early votes. The one here was having an issue of like grabbing the ballot and like re-rolling it back into the scan instead of dropping it down. So it was saying there was a ballot jam.
Okay.
And then it didn't give the voter the flag. So I got called in a handful of times to resolve that. Would tell the voter, if it's already cast your ballot, we can pull the ballot where it's stuck and we'll run it back through and it will tell us, yes, this ballot will go ahead and be cast. Or it's going to tell us, no, this ballot's already been scanned.
Okay.
So we crack open the seal, we open it, let them look in. Okay, your ballot is stuck right here. Okay, we pull it up, we'd scan it back, and they would tell us this ballot's already been scanned. They would get that.
Is it because of that, like worn rollers or a maintenance something we can do?
I want to say the ballot stock feels.
So
Paper was curled.
The ballot stock.
It wasn't
yes.
laid flat.
The ballot
Okay.
stock doesn't feel as heavy as what it was.
So
when we
not-
first got it.
Not the machine, the ballot stock.
No, it's the ballot
Okay.
stock that got heated in the printers, like he's saying.
Yeah.
So when it came out, it had that bit of a curve. So what we started telling the folks here was instead of facing it face down with the
Mhm.
side one down, go ahead and flip it the other way. We told them just reverse it.
Well, I guess the obvious
And-
question to follow up on this is, can we get a heavier ballot stock next time to go back?
I
Or
can check with
Okay.
Hart to see if they do offer a heavier ballot stock.
Okay.
If that's just what they're able to get at this point.
yeah, no, I don't know the answer to that
That
either.
was the only issue we ran into that was here, and we did let the election day workers know that if they had that issue going on, then it's just tell them to flip the ballot around.
Okay.
I know we had some voters that were questioning why that was happening. We told them what the issue was, and they're like, okay.
Yeah, no, that's all it is. At the end of the day, we have to have an answer for it. The words "I don't know" or "I always do it this way" don't
Yeah,
work.
no, it's just where we explained to them, look, we've had an issue where it's jamming, this is the issue we found. And this is what we found that has helped mitigate that. And they're like, okay, that makes sense.
That makes sense.
Okay, a lot of people were asking or saying, I guess they're expecting. To see their ballot, and I'm like, y'all have voted, like, this is the way y'all voted for at least the
4
past,
years.
yeah, the past couple of big
Yeah.
elections. But, and I'm like, look, you have your paper ballot, if anybody has any question, they can actually go back by hand and count.
And that was
You know
another
what I'm
thing,
saying? Like,
a lot of
you
folks
have
were
to see
questioning,
that on
like,
screen.
what happens, it's scanned it or it's dropped in, I don't know.
Yes, how do I know it's counting?
The answer to that question.
Mhm.
So there was a thing in Tarrant County, when a guy lied.
Oh, yeah.
She flipped my vote, it was activist, he lied. And but,
Like,
you
he
know,
gets.
all the networks were telling everybody your vote's not counting.
Mhm.
And so in our county, when people, and I got them all too, and I'm
You
like,
did, yeah.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
The receipt you're asking for is when you tell the machine what your intent is, and then the machine is giving you a receipt, to be sure that's what your intent was. Do you trust yourself? Well, yeah, okay, you're making the vote. You have a paper vote, you are marking, the machine's not marking it, you are marking it. So you are your receipt.
Yeah,
Some of the ones that were questioning it, I pulled aside because they wanted more in depth, and it's like, this is why we went with this equipment, is because you have the ballot in hand.
yeah,
You are determining what's going on with. the
Nothing is
ballot.
transferring your intent, you are putting your intent on the paper ballot.
Mhm.
And that usually, I mean, still, they kind of like, with like,
I know.
you are your receipt.
Yeah, given the whole process, break it down, and they're like, okay, so I have more to say in my ballot than the ballot board does now at this point. I was like,
Yes.
before they had to figure out what your intent was, now you are doing that. They usually just sit there and chill.
Yeah,
I was like, they're irritated because they have nothing to do, so they start helping with some low stuff.
yeah, right, exactly, it's a.
I got a question for you, and this is scuttlebone on your end. It doesn't do directly with Hill County, but it's curiosity. I heard that Bosque County was going to hand count votes. Did they actually do that?
I hadn't heard that.
That'd be a terrible idea.
So
So,
I can give you that information.
oh, did you?
It is the.
What's
Tea
that?
Party. And they wanted to hand count their ballots in a primary.
Yeah.
Oh, they're all up their county judge because the county judge said, no, we're not hand counting.
As I should.
Because the county is conducting that election.
Mhm.
And I think Bosque County went even more from higher than Hill. It's all the emails.
Curious about that. The Commissioners Court had considered it, and I thought that was a terrible idea.
Well, it's. Anyway,
Okay, good deal. All right, anything else for administrators report?
Only other thing I need to get is during any time frame that I can, more stickers.
Need what?
Some more voted stickers. Those
Oh.
things were like, oh, I'm trying to find those during the election.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, you try to put it in order, it's like, oh, it'll be here January 7th.
Oh, my goodness.
I don't get that.
Okay, no, cool.
Okay.
I had a question.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
You said the inspector was here and I had several just tell me that they came around. Is that something to do with all the counties or? was it something
Yeah,
just-
all the counties get them done. All
Yeah.
the counties have it done. He said we were the third county that he had visited during this cycle. It was his first go around. A lot of the times they only make it to about half of the locations within the county. I think he went to every single one of ours.
He seemed to be pretty thorough this time. Which
Yeah,
time?
He showed up early on election morning, I started getting calls about him, that was when we found out about some of the paperwork stuff. And then there was some stuff that he's like, well, you don't have this. And it was actually like our sticker combo sheet that had replaced the sheet he was talking about, so when he brought it in, we were reading up on it, and it's like, wait, are you talking about this? I went and printed it out, handed it to him, I was like, it's got all the same information you're talking about that we're needing, he's like, okay, so this just accommodates. Your printouts, it's like, okay, yeah, that works.
Yeah, we had everything for him. He didn't have any findings, did he?
No.
Yeah.
Not that I'm aware of, he says we did just fine, he didn't see any issues with our county.
Yeah.
He's like, this is one of the first counties that actually visited all locations. He ended up back here on election night with us and closed the night out with us and everybody there. And they all seemed like they were just all partying in there. Inspectors, poll watchers and judges.
You know what? That's good. I had no complaints from any of that list of people at all. I didn't have a single poll watcher call and complain. That's kind of a first. Didn't have a single, election. People from state tell us, hey, you've got an issue you need to look at. So,
No, yeah, state was actually taken back that we were way ahead of them as well too.
Yeah.
Even whenever I started getting early votes stuck in, and then call them in before, they even called, they didn't even get to call us. They called them first.
yeah,
Cause yeah, when I called, it was like, no, not even ready to report them. Oh, wow, you're already done? Yep.
streamline the system. It works better. All right, well, good deal. Anything else for the elections administrator report this morning? If not, then we're going to move on into our party chair reports. Mr. Earl, what do you got?
So what were the missing forms that the inspector?
The letter to the voter whenever they, I believe when they did the provisional and they didn't have the ID. To where they had to come and share with us.
Right.
And provide their ID. It was where we just didn't have that letter.
Okay.
And
That's-
just missed it when we printed.
Hmm.
Well, yeah, we got it printed up and sent out.
Okay,
Good.
It wasn't on the list originally to be put in kids.
But it's on the list for next time.
Yes.
yeah, that's gotta be in there. I mean, that's just the vital part of the whole voter ID or,
But yeah, it was that form and then the combination sticker form that
Which-
we had replaced the old.
but then, yeah,
That was the other. one.
okay.
Yeah, but we had that information. That wasn't a
Yeah.
problem. Just not.
Yeah, once he got here, we were able to figure out what it was he was referring to and. We handed it to him, he was good with that. So,
Okay, cool.
he came in and talked to us about the other one, we got those printed up and then Brandon and Hunter started rolling those out.
Good deal.
A lot of judges said that they did not have, they would like to have had, did not have, just like people who came in and weren't registered, just a registration card. Like, so they could fill it out and bring it back.
Okay. Yeah, we had the statement, but yeah, I don't know. if it
Yeah.
was the application.
But there were several people who had,
Change on the floor.
either
Let them know what you thought about them, didn't you?
people moving or first time voters, et cetera.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's another thing, just include a batch, not, don't need thousands, but have that in the section spots as well.
So put that on our list of things on the.
We'll do the good, then we'll do like things that we need to fix. So the good was everybody in talking to our judges, was very happy with the on-site support.
Good.
And that's something that you started a couple elections ago, just had people stationed. And so when somebody had a problem, all of our judges felt like that very quickly they got a response from elections. So that was definitely good. Yeah, trying to follow up with judges, there's still several like, I want more training, more time on machines, just more time just going over, for an election judge, they're doing it once every, and there's some of the other nuances of election code that are the things you don't deal with all the time that pop up on a search like president, like, I couldn't remember how to do that. I mean, yeah, I got an answer, but I wish I had more, I'm so glad they want more training, but I think once again, we just need to start having, in the summer, more, just kind of starting hands on with equipment.
I do want to get the program to where we can create our training program to where they can do the online
That's
courses.
really what I'd love to see.
Yeah,
And that way, once they get certified through that, any of the actual little nitpick stuff that they want to come in and go one-on-one, we can focus solely on that.
yeah.
And I think with our manpower limitations, only being 3 of you, and now that the state has changed it, we're basically early voting for the entire 2-week period with the weekends as well. We're gonna have to move that way just to give you guys a break. So
Yeah, and that online is via who, or how do we get that? Is it a third
The
party?
one of the vendors that we're looking to upgrade with is actually offers that as well.
Mhm.
So.
Does Hart have?
I don't think Hart has anything like
Okay.
that.
But-
This one, the vendor takes like all facets, paperwork. Or voting equipment, check-in equipment, any and all things that we deem to be training worthy. They'll go through and make the training module for us and then break down each module. They watch the module, take a test over it. Okay, you got X amount correct, you're good.
Is this like a Texas state approved vendor? I mean,
Yeah,
Okay,
they're on the buy list for Texas.
it's the
Tenants.
Tenix, thank you.
okay, so it's a vendor separate from Hart and from
Yeah. that's-
the check-in system, it's just a vendor who provides training.
Well, no, Tenix does the
Tenants
check-in
does the
system.
check-in system.
Oh,
Yeah, that's one of the ones that we're gonna have come.
So
you guys
they
look at.
have their check-in system and then they have what's called dead desk. which is just a platform of multiple different things as elections can use.
They've got an impressive organization there, tenants.
Okay, well,
So,
yeah, I mean, with people changing all the time and, yeah. I mean, not everybody likes all that training to have that, but maybe.
well, I mean, even if we had it to where like the ones that are not really tech savvy and don't wanna do it at home, it's like, all right, come into the office, we'll have you set, a laptop and you can go through it. If you have any questions, we can troubleshoot it with you
Mhm.
and walk you through it and get you through it.
Okay, I think that's, we started here, and then we've improved to here, and then we've improved to here, and so, I think we're down kind of nitty gritty of things. Of trying to make it perfect.
Yeah.
And the training, everybody wants more training, which is great. So that would be enough, I think, a good solution, and I don't know what's gonna cost, but the return on investment is gonna be very good.
So
So,
Well, and a lot of it is, we're doing, even talking with the vendors, they're like, you guys are doing what y'all are supposed to be doing, but then you turn it over to others that aren't doing it on the regular like you. So that's where you guys end up, hamstrung up and.
we gotta, if we're ever gonna get things better, we gotta increase our training game. That's all there is to it.
yeah. Ballot printers.
What do you say?
Ballot printers?
Oh, ballot printers, okay.
None of the printer cartridges were replaced.
Okay, that's gotta be something we gotta fix.
That's something that we talked about specifically here, and there were multiple. Voting stations like within the first hour or two, they were already ran out. Yes, there was a backup cartridge, but that's to me, whatever costs for printer cartridge. Like, so I remember asking you, like each cartridge is good for like 1,000 ballots, 2,000 ballots, something.
3,000,
Yeah,
3,000, I think.
So starting off a general election with a big turnout, that
So out of curiosity, what's the process to change that printer cartridge? Is it just plug and play or you gotta reset?
Yeah,
things?
it's you flip a lock,
Uh-huh.
roll on it and it pops out.
Yeah.
And then you put the other one and flip the lock back down.
You don't have to reset the thing, you don't have to restart
It
it.
automatically does its own thing. It'll tell you it's out of ink, you pop the hood on it, it pops up, you roll the lock back,
Uh-huh.
unseat the cartridge, put the new cartridge in, roll the lock back.
Are we offering any training on that to the,
Yeah, we show them how to do it.
I mean,
Gotcha.
the cartridge was there, replacing it was not difficult, it's just,
You got a line going
It's-
and you're already on a roll. and-
yeah, no, I understand. It happens at worst moments.
yeah, so that's. I mean, the help to the judge to replace that is far more greater than whatever couple of dollars might have saved by, not getting the last 100
No, I got you.
ballots printed out of it. I still have commentary from lots of judges, yes, very happy about the color coding of the paperwork. But it still seems like there's. A way we could simplify, it seems like there's, like, is all that paperwork required individually, is each form by state, is there any way to look at that and simplify? To some degree,
Guess we could reach out to legal and go over the kit that we have in place with them and make sure that all of that is, cause I knew. You had pulled a lot of stuff out prior.
Yeah.
And this is like bare minimum already, and it's still a lot.
exactly, and it's like, if there's some piece of data that's gotta be there in order to certify, I mean, certainly your ballot spoil logs, yes, your. Seal certificate, yes, you're keeping up with your count.
Honestly, the majority of everything there was, in my opinion, necessary, unfortunately. I mean, even all of our postings, a lot of it, even though it's.
Yeah, the postings, all the postings gotta be there.
Yeah, all of it falls into audit stuff.
Yeah.
Every single
Which,
one.
yeah, that audit is something that we
Cause yeah, I mean,
you gotta worry about now.
even with the inspector going through the kids at the locations, the only thing he came back and saying that we were missing was that.
You needed more paperwork, not less.
Yeah, we missed
Yeah.
paperwork.
Okay.
He didn't say anything else about anything else being missing, everything seemed accounted for, and we seemed satisfied with that, which was that one form.
Yeah. And, yeah,
Can I just make a suggestion?
Yes,
The workers, yellow sheets, when I get them back or doing payroll, they're not completed a lot of times. They don't have all the information on them, and then we're ready to go search people out. There's still one that they've got to check out there right now because we cannot get this guy to answer the phone or call us back. He never provided any
Who is it?
address or anything. Liam Lewis, I've never heard of him.
what's his name?
Liam Lewis.
oh, that's a student worker.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, if anybody knows how to get in touch with him, he's got a jet upstairs, we just can't find him.
Okay,
Good to know.
no, I can get hold of the
Good to know.
election judge, I have the lady's contact also, but it'd be the Susan Whitney.
Yeah, it's Miss Charles. It was one of
Yeah,
the
he works-
judges, and I talked to him and told him that I couldn't find the gentleman, but.
Yeah, he worked at 362 with Keith Thomas's budget.
Okay,
So, okay, well, yeah, we can get that for you.
thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. On the closeout for a central count, Leslie Thomas was the central count judge. For the most part, yeah, she was happy there, but there were some things that she said during. As you're processing early voting things, that she needed to be there to see the process in order to sign off.
Okay.
She was gonna be here this morning to kind of explain in more detail, I mean, in terms of like. There were some tabulations of early voting that happened, and she wanted to be there just to see, she didn't doubt the work you did. But wanted to, like, I need to see that before you had done and signed off. If you like, I need to.
I gave her the 0 reports first and foremost, and then she actually stood there while I tabulated.
Yeah, but there's, and to be honest, I was a little, not quite sure exactly which part of the process she was saying that she did not get to observe.
I mean, I know we did our original LNA where we did our first test, we did the public LNA,
Mhm.
and then we did another LNA right.
But I think there was some like early vote tabulations.
There's no tabulation until she got there at 7.
Okay,
I mean, the early voting ballot board met, all those were scanned through, and it was saved on the scanner.
mhm.
But no
And the scanner-
tabulation.
So like the early vote scanners were all sitting in my office, the mail scanners were sitting in my office. At 7 o'clock, I started pulling the drives out of the scanner.
And she was there.
She was
to see all
standing there
that.
watching.
Okay,
So she didn't understand the process.
maybe there's something that she didn't quite understand as well, so.
Who was this
Yeah.
one?
Leslie Thomas.
Oh, yes, she was here.
Yeah, so I mean, Leslie's good to
Well-
work with.
I say Leslie was, it may not have been Leslie.
No, it
Yeah.
should be.
Mary?
Marion.
Well, Marion Phillips was the
Poll watcher.
poll watcher.
But yeah, they were both kind of flitting in and out of the office. I know Leslie was on the phone at one point, and then Marion came in and stood and watched over. And took note of everything, watched as I put stickers on, saying this was mail, this was early vote, Burroughs, early vote, Huron, early vote, Hubbard.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause
I'm trying to get her to explain to me exactly which part of the process that she didn't get to observe.
yeah, because I mean, the only thing I can think of is the ballots being scanned in, but that was with Karen.
Right, and you got to judge, we got,
Yeah.
is our early vote.
Well, even then, I can't even print anything for her to sign off. I mean, other than a 0,
Right,
because I can't process anything till 7 o'clock on the day of.
Yeah.
so we might just get some time later to go and have her, basically see what her question was. And I mean, she wasn't like election was wrong or anything like that, there's just some, she's an attorney and by trade, and so it was.
Yeah, everything's gotta be.
Yeah,
everything's gotta
so,
fit.
and like I said, there wasn't like, I think Aaron did this wrong, that wasn't that at all, it was like, wait, I'm supposed to see that in order to sign off on that part. Not the whole election, but
So
some,
right when she got there, I had just finished printing up the third LNA for us. to get
Okay.
started.
and maybe he was like wanting to watch that test occur or something like that.
Okay.
Even though you got the test result, maybe
Yeah.
she wanted to observe the test.
Did we post when we were gonna hold those, or is that, I mean, I know for the public one we did. Yeah, so she,
Well, the main public one was posted on my.
yeah, it was, but that's this last one that she wanted to see. Maybe we should.
It was on election
Election day.
night, not the logic and accuracy prior to ballots being loaded.
According to state, we have to run 3 logic and.
Correct. There's the first one we do.
That I do.
Second one's
we went off,
public.
The second was public, and the third one is right before we started.
Yeah,
Yeah, and maybe it was that test that she didn't get to observe.
so we might
Maybe.
want to tell people in the future, we're gonna run that third test at this hour. We plan to run it, so be here, because we can't wait for people to show up if they're late or other issues. Not saying that's the case here, but obviously, we probably want to tell everybody when we're gonna do that.
I mean, like I said, I mean, for the most part, things went really well. The multiple check-ins, judges really liked.
Good deal.
In terms of number of check-in, I don't look at new hardware, which judges are also glad to hear, because everybody's had hardware. That we know, where this is probably their last go around. We're looking at getting new stuff. When we have some demonstrations, I'll send an invite, so you can see what it looks like. In terms of just, I don't know when we get it cost, but for budgeting on the county's part.
Still have to write the budget, that's right.
We're, the party does, last time we did joint primary, they don't want to do joint primary again.
That's their business, not
Right,
mine.
so, was when we.
Which I will say openly, I think that's ridiculous, but that's their business, not mine.
So,
That his people don't want to run the joint primary anymore.
Yeah, it,
I get
the
it.
biggest difference is just who checks in where.
Yeah,
So, but if we're gonna have a system, we just gotta have enough to do that,
yeah,
and
there's cost associated with that.
I know, and while I'm letting you know, Judge, that is the president of the Republican Party that.
Oh, I'll be happy to, because when I have to go to the commission, then we have to have extra machines, because the Republican Party doesn't want to play nice, and this is gonna cost the taxpayer X dollars more because of it. I have to protect that. I mean, that's just all, I gotta tell the court, because the court's gonna make that decision. That means we gotta get the tax money out of somebody's pocket.
Right.
But, yeah,
But also, the number of systems should, I don't think it's gonna actually end up being too tremendously in excess, because when we have a general election like this time, I had several other locations said, I wish could have had multiple check-ins.
yeah.
So we had 3 working, and there's other supervisors, I wish we could have. Now,
We need to come up with a number in general we're thinking to satisfy all that.
yes.
Plus spares.
Right, so I mean, at the minimum, we've got 13 polling locations, so very minimum 26
Mhm.
check-ins, and then they're presented backup. And then that would give you the minimum 2 for each location. A lot of them like 7, 9, 3.
We have to.
There's about 5 to 6 who really don't need multiple check-ins for a general election. Volume is not there.
I look at it from the primary standpoint, and if we only do 26, obviously that hamstrings us, because you've got one on each side. On election day,
And that's-
you're gonna need more than that. I mean, I'm thinking like closer to 39 or 40, actually.
Yeah, I think as long as if you could, whatever the cost is, if you kind of roughed out a budget for that in there, then we should.
I think 39 is your bare minimum. That gives 2 at each location for the Republican Party and 1 on each side of the Democratic Party. That leaves us at 39, but then of course you still want to have extras in case something goes down.
That's true, that's true.
I mean, I think we were in the realm of 44 with Votech.
Yeah, so I think so, as long as we stay somewhere similar to that, I think we'd be in good shape.
Yeah, I think would be perfect for us.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's, and have enough for backups to go out in case we need to.
Right.
Yeah, I just your tech support's gotten great, and just having those people have the tools they need to replace it should something happen.
Yeah.
Because it's no matter what we do, something's going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And then another thing is, I think we still gotta make an improvement in your operations. Certainly prior to elections in regards to voter registration. Did we get the thing fixed with your phone? Or,
I believe they did get that straightened out. I know I'm still the only one getting all the voicemails.
yeah,
Yeah, well, we're getting, you can actually leave a voicemail for you now, so I know that's a
Yeah.
plus.
okay,
Yeah.
But what I'd like to do is to expand that so that I understand as the administrator, you have some privacy, that having people work for you have access to your voicemail. There needs to be a better way to distribute that.
Well, before we
Load
moved, it
across.
was set to where any one of us could get into the voicemails.
Mhm.
But once we got over here, it got screwed up.
So that's gonna
It's
get
not
changed
the
back then. So if that's not fixed yet, we're gonna fix that.
Yeah.
So that everybody has access to that voicemail account, because you've got too many other things going on to be answering voicemails on election day and other times.
yeah, and then, yeah, just like early on, like, certainly before the cutoff for voter registration. Yeah, if you like. To have somebody like, that's their job to check every voicemail regarding a voter registration issue to kind of, that would help.
Yeah.
The impression of the responsiveness of the election administrator, because that's, it's always for election, it's always last second, people are trying to figure out. But to be able to look, for you to provide that extra handhold and say, yes, you are registered, no, you're not, you got 2 days to come and do this, and to walk them through would, help alleviate kind of the last pressure points, if you will, of.
Hey, speaking of which, we put that text my gov in a couple of years ago. Do you see much use on that anymore? Are you seeing?
I'll get pings for people doing goofy requests to it, something that's not in the actual like word search in itself.
Okay, is it still providing a value for you? I guess is what my question
I
is.
think it is.
Okay,
It's
cool.
limiting calls on election day, because I'm pretty sure people are using it.
Okay, good
It
deal.
really only pings me whenever somebody puts in like an invalid request, is when it tells me that, hey, this happened.
Huh.
It's just where they didn't get the answer that they were looking for, because they were asking me, how do I change my my gender? That's not anything that has anything to do.
Yeah,
It
no.
does with our registration, but it's not the
That's
main
not,
thing on. the-
You can't.
yeah, Nick's mine, Nick's mine often, and neither can they, frankly.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I didn't mean to bring up down that rabbit trail, just
No.
thought about talking, you know, if we're talking about communication, that's one of the things I want to check. up
Getting
on.
all of that
Get it back
updated, as
to our
long as
folks.
that's updated, people are finding what they need to, as long as they're putting in the right shit.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah, and then just operations overall, the voter turnout, you look across the state, turnout is increasing, I think. Voters are kind of, seem to be turning in, not like gargantuan, but there is a general trend towards more voter turnout, which is good.
We were in what, the 22,000 range when I took over, and we're at 26. and
Yeah.
change
Yeah,
now, so
yeah, we,
It's big change.
yes, big
it's definitely
changes.
gaining traction.
Yeah, and I think it's great to see how many people are early voting, because like I said, I was scared on election day, like. I mean, what's the percent turnout for early voting, like, is that gonna
Yeah,
extrapolate?
we-
Did
a
they
lot
just
of times-
switch to early vote, or is there this groundswell of new
Yeah,
voters?
A lot of times it would reciprocate what early vote did in election day.
Yeah, so,
I'm just glad that we took the actions we have over the last 5 years. Because if not, early vote would have been a nightmare. Day
Yes.
of vote would have been a nightmare this time.
yeah, no, so, I mean, you know, everybody wants to find all the problems, but it has to be, to the judge's point, the work we have done as a commission for the voters of Field County has worked.
It has.
And it's working very well. So, I mean, I hope that trend continues, the early voting versus day of election.
Mhm.
I asked all of my judges, nobody felt like they were swamped. You know, it's like, we're busy all day, but they never felt like it was overwhelming.
Yeah, it wasn't like.
But we didn't have any 2 hour long lines either.
Right.
No, there's no voter that called and said, I can't vote because.
Yeah, I had a couple of judges like, people having to wait to register, like, how long? Like 5 minutes. I'm like, oh, that's, that is nothing.
Expect that.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dallas County, Houston
Yeah.
County.
No doubt.
So-
No doubt.
So anyway, like I said, few little things I think we still need to tweak to meet voter expectation, but. You know, like I said, pat ourselves on the back. We've done tremendous work to meet the expectation of the voter, to provide election integrity, provide access to voting. And you know, and the turnout is showing that,
Agreed.
so.
I think that our actions had a direct result, or part of the reason that people are voting in larger numbers is that we've made it easier to vote, is
Yes.
what our goal was. So,
Yeah.
good deal. All right, anything from the Democratic Party here today?
Well, I think that's just about covered all. I will say that I'm very proud of the election commission. In 2020, there was over 1,600 people on suspense, according to the Secretary of State's website, they're down to 292.
Wow,
So
good
that
deal.
is a big improvement.
that is.
I'm really impressed with that.
I didn't know that until you actually brought that up, and then I saw it on the site later, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what he was looking at.
Yeah, no, there's,
It's a big improvement.
Yeah,
I
that
mean,
is.
at this point, the ability to improve what's there, you know, that whole. How much resource does it take to achieve this game? You're gonna spend a tremendous amount more. I mean,
Yeah,
you can always improve a little bit. We talk about some things that need improving, but it's.
I would say the things that, you know, going forward, I really, and I can't prejudge who we're going to choose for voter check-in software. But the possibilities that 10X presents for us, the ability to put online training for our judges, that's huge. And we're not ready there yet, but the point where we can put some online training for your voters, I think is the next step. Because we get a lot of people that want to participate in government, but they don't understand how to, or they've been given, quite frankly, bad information by the activists that have a grind, you know, like that guy at Tarrant County switched my vote. That kind of stuff, explaining that is going to make everybody's life easier. No, well, here's actually the machine we use here. How's this work? I'm somewhat disappointed that the vote machine vendors have not gone out, but then again, maybe nobody take their word for it in the first place. That being said, I do see that once we kind of get a couple more things done here, we get past this voter check-in software decision we've got to make, that looking at how do we make outreach to the voters to make it a more informed voter from the standpoint of the process of voting and what actually goes on in the machines and how they work. If we could get that out, I think we could allay some of this bad information that's getting back to folks that, again, I'm not an expert on that, just my 10 cents.
It's a good idea.
Well, it's almost kind of like doing the resource expo with April. doing
Yeah.
the Elections expo.
That's an interesting
Have
idea.
chairs come in. Just have like a Q&A over any and all questions.
Are you familiar with the Resource Expo my office puts on with April? We basically take every service, social service, government, organ
No.
affiliated, we take all NGOs. We take our food banks, our faith-based ministries, you name it, if they offer a social service in Hill County, we put them in one building for one night. And what we've found that while the turnout is not as much as we hope sometimes, that's not really the connections that help. It's the entities talking to each other. And my goodness, what we managed to create through her program has been great.
When do you do that?
What's that? We did in October.
In October?
Yeah, we'll do it again this October.
Okay.
I know, it's right.
That's right. Forgive me. You told me that. We're doing two. Yeah. So,
That's cool.
Yeah, I think our check-in was our biggest thing going forward that we needed to rectify. The voting equipment was spot on as far as the partial was concerned. Taking her rates to do the local one, like I said, would prove to show us an anomaly, and it did. We spent quite a few hours going back and forth through her rates and the whole damn early vote stack, because we were looking for one undervote. So when it all came down to it, between myself, the guys in April looking at these ballots, we determined that there was 2 ballots there that didn't have sufficient marking.
oh,
They had a
yeah.
mark, we could see the mark plainly, but
The scanner.
the scanner wasn't taking it.
Yeah.
So in order to prove that up, we went ahead and set up another scanner, pushed it through, and as soon as we pushed it through, we kicked it right back out and said, hey, these are missing. And you could clearly see where somebody had gone back and remarked everything up to it and then not.
Yeah. Because the way our machine's set up, the voter chose to force that ballot through.
They submitted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Forced
it
it.
does do that, because mine did that.
Yeah,
I
so
was
when they
like,
forced it,
what?
it had the mark there, but the scanner says no vote. So yeah, we're sitting there. And then, yeah, we
Nice.
figured out with that.
Okay.
So
So
everything.
Yes, sir.
goes
back to your thing, you're talking about training. for
Yes, sir.
the voters.
Yes, sir.
The equipment that we use now, there actually is training videos out there for the voters to watch and see how the
Really?
machines work, and how to mark it, how to put it through the scanner.
You know what? Then that, if that exists, I'm unaware of it, but I'm glad you said something. What we'll do is look into that.
Put a link on. the-
Exactly right.
Yes.
Yeah, put a link on our webpage about voter education.
There's a different video for each piece. And show the voters exactly what they need.
Good deal. That's out. We can make that happen
I
soon.
want to vote, but how do I do that? Oh, da-da-da, da-da-da. Look on this, look on this.
Caitlin, she's really good at creating videos and everything for her.
Okay, good deal. That's JP1's secretary that is really proficient. We pull people in from all over the county to make these things happen. So, okay, moving on to our next one is discussion action regarding presentation of electronic poll books. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason I put this on the agenda today is this is too important to have everybody out or somebody out, and I want to work with your calendars and your schedules. We're looking obviously after the first of the year. Aaron, did they give you some dates?
I haven't heard back from Greg just yet. I know he's going on, he'll be back from vacation after the 7th, is what he told me.
Okay, so do we shoot for late January or early February?
I'm pretty sure he's actually.
Yeah, please do. That'd be helpful.
No, he's actually.
Oh, he's in a demo. Okay, so what I've got is I've got the 22nd of that Wednesday. I know we normally meet on Wednesdays. Forgive me, it wasn't possible to do so this time. But if that Wednesday morning works, I have the 22nd or the 29th. Does that work for anybody else's calendars, either one of those two dates? And I'm asking for the two dates because if
Just make sure it works with it.
correct.
Or either the 22nd or 29th.
Yes, ma'am. Is that going to work for everybody? I don't want anybody to have to miss because they have previous commitments on their calendar. Okay. So what my goal is to give that guy those two dates, tell him pick, and then we'll immediately notify everybody on the commission as to what the date was. And of course, we want to do it early that morning as well. 8:30 works best for, it seems, for everybody.
The one thing with Tenix is, of course, if we want to see everything that they have, we definitely allot for that.
2 hours is what he said before.
Make sure, yeah.
I mean, if I remember the conversation previously, it was going to be like an hour and a half, 2 hours to see the whole presentation.
We have him go all out.
I think I like to think I have a very good attention span, and I'm not so certain that I could pull that off.
Keep it at least.
Around two. I mean, everybody's got things to do. These gentlemen have jobs, places to be. So do we. So,
That's-
and I only want to schedule one at a time.
No, yeah, that's what I told him too, that we would.
Good deal.
schedule.
Good.
How many vendors are there?
We're only looking at, we have currently Tenix.
So we'll be looking
There
at
is.
Votech and Tenix.
There is another vendor, but we were already turned off from them.
Can you just state why?
I spoke with, was it Hockley County?
Mhm.
Was who we were referred to by Tenix, because they actually had the other vendor, and I talked with Hockley County, and they're like, no, this Tenix is worlds away compared to what we had. The other one was No Ink,
Okay, I'm not familiar.
KNOWINK.
Not familiar with them.
But yeah, there's a lot of folks that are actually moving away from No Ink, and I've heard there's a lot of folks that are moving away from Bowtech as well, so.
Well, I'll check with my county treasurer around, see who's using, other real world experience.
So we only have one scheduled for our attendance.
Well, we don't have the schedule. We're trying to schedule. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. they're trying to get-
And what we can do, once we set that first one up, we can schedule the next one rather quickly. But I want to get that first one moving and rolling.
But we scheduled.
We think it's going to be
It'll be-
10X is who we're trying to schedule.
10X is the first thing we're trying to get, and then give Votech a shot to go demo their new updated equipment.
Yeah. I mean, we need to look at a couple because we're going to ask the commissioner for a bunch of
I
money.
think there was only the three that were on files from state.
Okay.
Tenix, No Ink, and Votech.
Yeah, Votech. Okay.
Okay.
Well, so we'll start off with 10X. We'll see if we can get them here on the 22nd or the 29th. And then in short order after that, or while we're working on that, we'll figure out where we can get Votech lined up. Now, you guys got to remember too, Votech already blanked on us once.
Right.
Like 10X couldn't make it. There's a storm in Florida. They called ahead of time, told us the whole thing. We got it. Votech was just like, oh yeah, sorry, didn't see it on our calendar. So I'm not going to forget that easily.
That's what happened to Hart.
You know,
When you see them on the list, you know.
Does Hart offer a check-in system?
I'm not sure if they do have a check.
Well, let's look in and see. I know previously we've liked the perception of two separate systems, but maybe that's not the best way. I don't know. But let's look at it and see. We'll get a couple of people lined up. My goal is to have something in place for, I suspect it'll be a constitutional election next fall.
another one. Inside baseball.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
You're right. If there was the next election, it would be in November for a potential constitutional election. That is correct.
All right, correct. So that's my game is to try to get everything set up for that if it should
For the training.
come to pass. Yeah. So anyway, that's where I'm at. All right, guys and gals, thank you for here. Is there anything else for the good of the group that we need to go over? Aaron, you're doing good. Appreciate the improvements and you know what you need to work on. So thank you for that. Gentlemen, thank you both for taking your mornings to be here. Otherwise, at this moment, I will enter. Oh, no, hold on. I'm so sorry.
Cause she's gonna forget. When you send out emails, is everybody in there? I don't know that I have your email address.
That email should be to everybody.
Okay.
But we asked people not to reply directly to that email because it could violate a quorum under 551 of the government code.
Send out, The.
The minutes.
the minutes.
Yeah, no, it's okay to send out the minutes, but please put the disclaimer that please do not reply to this email.
Okay.
We need to make sure we, yeah, that'd be great. So cool. All right. Ms. Paula can get that for you. All right. So next time we meet, we're going to have agenda minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, I can email them to you as soon as I.
We really need to look at them before we take action. on them. So, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
All right. Sounds good. We'll just put the minutes next time then. So, all right. I believe Mr. Orr was making a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Is there a second? We stand adjourned. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, Wendy. You doing okay?
Just get.
Yeah, just get now.
Beats the alternative, I hear.
Yeah.
My supposition is since from the House, it requires 100 votes for a constitutional amendment.
Ain't gonna get a
The only, one of the only few triggers the D's are gonna have to be able to say no. And so I'm